let's look at the dahlias. So this is my main dahlia patch. I have approximately 700 in this space. I keep them pretty cut down because I sell for a market. So I actually use only like this one string for support, and I'll use these green metal stakes that I got off of Amazon. Goes all the way back there, and then this is where that back garden starts. As you can see, I've started to build a wood wall. I'll do another video on that later. So this is my main dahlia patch. I actually have a bunch of beds that are in my front and in my back. My paths are very, very small. I never recommend that to people, but I'm willing to make it work for me. I just kind of shimmy down them sideways. I've planted them about 9 inches apart. I'm not sure how many varieties I have in this area, but total I have around 150 varieties and 1,200 plants. I get a lot of people asking me if I get powdery mildew, and the answer is no, even though I overhead water. I've started letting these all go to seed because I'm collecting seed, so I've stopped deadheading. Ignore that a dog in the background. So the dahlia patch goes like all the way to our back. This fence back here is our property line. Then we have a giant cherry tree here that's about 30 years old. And then over here is our dome greenhouse. This was a project in 2020. Then we have one pear tree here. And then over here is the start of like my first garden space that we ever had, which I've expanded a lot. Now these videos are like super real. Like this is August. Everything's looking a bit dreary. Everything needs to be weeded. This was an apple tree. And over here, right there, was another apple tree. This is my compost right there. And I didn't get the stump ground when we took it out, so it's sending out all these shoots, which is super annoying. So now I have to go through and I have to figure out how to get these out and actually kill it for good. So I have more dahlias here. And then even more through here. These are zinnias that I'm saving for seed. These were all my Dawn Creek zinnias. So I'm just letting them kind of just die on the plant so they'll make good seed. Back here is a fence that we need to replace. We had a big grapevine there that we took out, and so that's kind of like a project to convert to extend the garden all the way to the back. Over here we have thornless blackberries right in here. And then this whole strip that looks half green and half dead is our raspberry patch. The reason it looks half dead is because all of the second year canes are starting to die, so I need to take those out, and then all the first year canes that came up this year will be good for another year. So here are more of the zinnias. Here's like a view. This is a bed that I flipped and I just planted summer buckwheat in, which I need to chop down because you can see that it's starting to make seed. So I need to get this chopped down pretty quick so it can decompose into the soil. This is another patch of raspberries. I get thornless varieties. I'm pretty sure this one's royalty. It's not totally thornless, but it's pretty close. So the thorns don't bother me at all. So this, if I came out and I stood at the entrance I have this archway here. This is one of the tripod sprinklers that I use. So this was our original garden. I made a mistake when we built it, and I brought in this free compost, which was actually just like straight horse manure, and just don't ever do that, because horses, it just goes straight through their bodies. So it was just so full of weed seeds, and honestly I'm still combating those to this day. I'm getting there. Like, I've mostly eliminated them, but each year I have to kind of go through and pull up all the perennial ones before they go to seed. So after like this big raspberry hedge, so when we moved in, this raspberry hedge was much shorter, and like this was the edge of the garden. So we expanded it. We brought in this big load of rock and we expanded it out this way. And then this is where I have more dahlias and a bunch of zinnias and some celosia kind of over there. And then back there is our wood. This is where I do a lot of ranunculus in the spring. So I'm actually going to be starting to pull stuff out of here pretty soon. And my plan, I think I mentioned this in another video, is to get all my dahlias back here next year. So they go straight back, and then the new garden area, I'm just going to take them all this way, and then I can use all these beds for other annuals. These are, well, right here is 6 more beds that I put in. The structure in the back was a playhouse I made for my kids out of the boxes that the greenhouse came in. It came in these big plywood boxes. They don't actually really like playing in it, so I'm trying to think of something else to convert it into. Back here, these were snapdragons. I just ended up stop cutting from them, and I am pulling them all out this week to get prepped for cool flowers that need to go into the ground. And then these are 2 beds of dahlias, another bed, and another bed. And then if you come the other direction, this is our pond that my husband built. This landscaping all around the pond is our project for the fall. So we want to put in a lot of shrubs to really balance it out, especially down over here around the edges, and make it look better. So if you turn, there's those 6 beds. And if you come down here, there are, how many are there? 7, I think. Yeah, there's 7, and these are 2 by 20 feet. That doesn't seem right. 2 by 10 feet? Yeah. So I had, these 2 were sweet peas. I took those out. These 2 are like all my special variety dahlias. Then I have 3 more sweet pea ones here. Then I have a lot of extra dahlias that I didn't have room for planted in crates. And this one clearly needs to be watered. It's drying out. So I will water that one and stake it. But these are some of like my special varieties. This is Cupcake, okay, Blood Orange, Bracken Rose, Tory Pea, Bloomquist Blush. There's some other, oh yeah, Mocha Joe is down here. It's Mocha Joe. So again, I've stopped deadheading because I'm trying to let things go to seed so I can collect seed before our frost. It takes a while. But if I walked out, so now if I turned around, I'd be almost to our porch. But this is how our back is laid out. So we have the pond, then we have all these raised beds, then you keep going, you get to the rock garden, get to the dahlia field, and then you get to the very back and the dome. So most of our property is in the back. And then I converted our yard to a garden as well. It used to be all grass. This area right here, I'm still trying to figure out what to do with it. Clearly we don't water it, like the grass is bone dry, but this is actually our septic field. So I can't just stick stuff on it. And we try and keep this whole pathway here open just so we can get like a truck back a little bit, and so we don't have to, like, it just cuts out like how much we have to wheelbarrow. And then over here, this is like my new workspace, shed and cooler, which I'll show you in another video. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them.